Why best friend liked me, I rejected him. Then everything fell apart. Painful truth about teenage friendships. I never thought that the most painful chapter of my high school life would begin at a booth in our favorite diner, over 2 steaming mugs of hot chocolate. Jake and I had always been just friends. At least, that's what I thought. We met in elementary school during a group project on volcanoes. I was the shy, artsy kid who brought in papier-mâché. Jake was the funny, confident boy who somehow made lava explosions sound poetic. From that moment, we became inseparable. Every school year, every summer camp, every holiday, we were each other's person. We used to laugh at the idea that boys and girls couldn't be best friends without falling in love. That's a movie cliché, we'd say, high-fiving like teammates on the same lifelong mission. But life isn't a movie. It's far more unpredictable, and Heartbreak doesn't come with a dramatic soundtrack, just silence and memories that replay when you least want them to. It was a Wednesday in late October. We were at the diner we always went to after football games. Red booths, checkered floors, old jukebox in the corner playing 80s classics. I remember everything. The way Jake was fidgeting with the sugar packets. The way he didn't touch his food. I could feel something was coming, but I had no idea how much it would change everything. Then he said it. I like you. I sat there stunned. For a moment, the clatter of the diner vanished. The noise from other tables became a dull hum in the background as my heart raced. Not out of excitement, but confusion, guilt, and fear. I didn't know you felt that way, I finally said, my voice barely louder than a whisper. Jake looked down at his hands, his face flushed with both embarrassment and vulnerability. I didn't mean to drop it on you like this, he said, but I've been holding it in for so long. I needed to tell you. That's when the weight of truth crashed into me. Because the truth was, I didn't feel the same. I had a crush on someone else. A boy from my art class named Tyler, gentle, creative, and just as passionate about painting as I was. We've been talking more often, bonding over color theory and brush strokes, and I felt something growing, something I hadn't told Jake about. Jake, I care about you so much, I said gently, but not like that. I don't want to lie to you. I've been crushing on someone else. His face changed in an instant, from hope to heartbreak. It felt like I had taken a sledgehammer to something sacred. He nodded slowly. Okay, I get it. But I knew he didn't. Not really. Not in that moment. We left the diner quietly that night. No jokes. No high fives. Just silence between 2 people who suddenly didn't know how to be friends anymore. And in the days that followed, our easy friendship grew strained. The texts became shorter. The hangouts became fewer. The silence between us grew louder. I had hoped that by being honest, we could move forward. But instead, I had unknowingly opened a wound that neither of us knew how to heal. It didn't happen all at once. At first, it was small things, Jake pulling away, canceling plans, avoiding eye contact when we crossed paths in the school hallway. I told myself he needed time, and I tried to give him space. But that space turned into distance, and that distance eventually turned into coldness. Then, I started hearing things. Whispers in the art room, curious glances in the cafeteria. A friend of mine, Emily, pulled me aside and asked, "Hey, did you really lead Jake on for months?" That's what he's been saying. My stomach dropped. Let him on? Jake and I had been best friends since elementary school. I had always been open and honest. I never once flirted with him or gave him hope. And now he was painting me as a manipulator? I confronted him the next day after school. Jake, what are you telling people? I asked, trying to stay calm. Why are they saying I led you on? His face darkened. You acted like you cared, he snapped. Like we had something real. Then you throw me aside for some guy you barely know. I was your friend. I shouted. You're twisting this. Just because I didn't return your feelings doesn't mean I betrayed you. He laughed bitterly. You don't get it, do you? You always had me wrapped around your finger. Now that I'm out of your orbit, suddenly you can't handle the truth. It stung. Not because of what he said, but because it wasn't the Jake I knew. The Jake who once helped me through my parents' divorce, who cheered me on at every art show, who stayed up texting me random jokes just to make me laugh. That Jake was gone. And the worst part? His bitterness wasn't just directed at me anymore. He started targeting Tyler too. He'd mutter things in the hallway. Sarcastic, cutting remarks like, good luck with her. Man, she's got a thing for drama. He'd spread little half-truths, painting Tyler as a rebound, as someone I used to get back at him. The rumors spread like wildfire. Some people took my side, others didn't, but the damage was done. And Tyler, he was beginning to crack under the pressure. Tyler tried to be strong. At first, he brushed it off with a casual grin. People talk. Let them, he'd say. But I could see it in his eyes. The way he flinched when someone passed us with a whisper, or how he tightened his jaw when Jake's name came up. What started as a few careless rumors had morphed into a full-on storm. Suddenly, Tyler was being labeled as the homewrecker, this second choice, or even worse, The guy who took advantage of a messy rebound. None of it was true, but in high school, truth is rarely louder than gossip. I watched as the weight of it all began to chip away at him. He stopped sitting with me during lunch, citing too much drama. He skipped out on the school art exhibit we had planned to attend together. Our once lively conversations became strained, littered with awkward silences and forced smiles. I tried to reassure him, to pull us back to that safe place we'd built together. But one afternoon, it all came crashing down. We were sitting on the bleachers after school, watching the sunset stretch across the football field, something we used to enjoy in quiet, peaceful comfort. I reached for his hand, but he pulled away. "I don't think I can do this anymore," he said quietly. I froze. "What do you mean?" He looked at me, really looked, and I saw how tired he was. Everything around us. It's like being in a storm, and I can't find a way out. I didn't sign up for drama and betrayal. Jake, the rumors, the way everyone looks at us now, it's exhausting. I felt like the ground had cracked beneath me. "So you're just giving up?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Because people are talking?" "I'm not strong like you," he said, eyes downcast. "I thought I could handle it, but I can't. I'm sorry." He stood up, and in that moment, I knew I was losing him. Not because we didn't care about each other, but because the world around us had twisted something innocent into something toxic, and the price of it all was too heavy for him to carry. He walked away, and I didn't stop him, because deep down, I knew that holding on tighter wouldn't fix it. When Tyler walked away, it felt like my entire world had deflated, like a balloon that had slipped out of my hands and vanished into a sky that didn't care. One moment, I had two people in my life who meant the world to me. The next, I had neither. I was alone, not in the physical sense. There were classmates, teachers, and casual friends still around me. But emotionally, spiritually, I was an island. And that isolation was worse than any silence I'd ever known. Jake stopped talking to me altogether. He didn't even look in my direction anymore. The boy who used to nudge me during boring assemblies, who knew all my weird food habits, who could finish my sentences, he now passed me in the hall like I was invisible. And Tyler? He unfollowed me on social media. It sounds silly, I know. But in our generation, a digital disconnection sometimes feels more brutal than words. It's a statement, a severing, a deliberate act that says, "You don't exist in my world anymore." What hurt the most wasn't just losing them. It was the story people told in my absence. I became the villain in a STO. Some said I had led Jake on for years and then betrayed him. Others claimed I used Tyler as a rebound. A few even whispered that I played both guys against each other for attention. No one asked me what really happened. No one seemed interested in the truth. The lunch table I used to sit at grew quieter around me until eventually I stopped showing up altogether. I started taking my meals outside, sitting under the same oak tree every day, sketchbook in hand, letting my pain bleed through the pages. My art became my sanctuary, the only place I could be honest. I began drawing what I couldn't say, portraits of loss, of friendships crumbling, of girls sitting in the rain waiting for someone to notice them. My teachers noticed a shift in my work. One of them, Mr. Bennett, gently asked if everything was okay. I smiled and said yes. It was easier than trying to explain the avalanche of emotions inside me. But slowly, in that quiet, painful solitude, something began to grow. Strength. Not the kind that shows up overnight, but the kind that comes from crying yourself to sleep and still waking up the next day. The kind that comes from learning to enjoy your own company. The kind that whispers, "You survive. Keep going." And so I did. Would you like to continue with part 6? Healing, forgiveness, and reclaiming myself? Healing didn't come in a grand gesture. There was no movie moment where the music swells and everything suddenly gets better. It came in small, quiet ways. It came on a Tuesday morning when I looked in the mirror and didn't cry. It came when I picked up my sketchbook, not out of pain, but because I wanted to create beauty again. It came when I stopped refreshing Tyler's social media, stopped wondering if Jake would ever apologize, and started asking myself, what do I need? What do I deserve? The first step was forgiving them, but not for their sake. I forgave Jake, not because he asked for it, he never did, but because holding on to resentment was exhausting. I realized that his pain had twisted into something bitter, and while that didn't excuse the way he treated me, it helped me understand it. Sometimes people hurt others when they don't know how to handle their own wounds. I forgave Tyler, because I knew he wasn't a villain. He was just a teenage boy caught in a whirlwind he didn't ask for. Maybe he wasn't strong enough to fight for us, but that didn't mean he didn't care. He was human, flawed, scared, and overwhelmed, just like I was. But the hardest forgiveness was the one I had to give myself. I replayed every decision over and over. Could I have handled Jake's confession differently? Should I have been more careful with Tyler's feelings? Was I somehow the common denominator in this chaos? And then one day, I gave myself permission to stop asking those questions. Because I was a teenage girl doing her best. Because feelings are messy and love isn't a straight path. Because I didn't betray anyone. I was just honest. And being honest should never make you the villain. So I began to reclaim the parts of myself I had lost in the storm. I rejoined the art club. I started talking to new people, not to replace what I had lost, but to build something new, something healthier, something rooted in mutual respect and kindness. I stopped hiding during lunch and returned to that crowded cafeteria, not caring if people whispered. Their opinions no longer had power over my identity. Most importantly, I realized that I am more than someone's friend, crush, or scapegoat. I am a whole person, with a heart that beats, and I made a promise to myself. Never again will I let someone else's behavior define my worth. This is my life, my story, and I'm still writing it, one page at a time. If you've made it this far, thank you, truly, because this story wasn't just about me, it was about all of us who have ever loved, lost, and been left to pick up the pieces. I know how lonely it feels to be misunderstood. I know how gut-wrenching it is to watch someone you trusted turn cold. And I know the silent shame that creeps in when people judge you for things they don't understand. But if you're in that place now, if someone's betrayal has left you feeling small, silenced, or broken, I want to speak directly to you. You are not the villain just because you honored your heart. You are not unworthy because someone walked away. You are not weak for feeling the weight of it all. You are human, and that's sacred. Sometimes, doing the right thing hurts. Sometimes, speaking your truth doesn't win you applause. It costs you friendships, relationships, even your reputation. But I promise you, your truth is still worth it. Jake's rejection taught me that not everyone can handle honesty. Tyler's departure taught me that even those who care may not always have the strength to stand beside you. But more than anything, this pain taught me who I am. I'm not just the girl who was caught in a love triangle. I am not just the girl people whispered about in the hallways. I am not just someone who was left behind. I am the girl who kept showing up. The girl who cried, but still went to school the next day. The girl who felt everything, but didn't let those feelings destroy her. And if you're listening to this, you are that person too. I want you to know something I wish someone had told me earlier. You are allowed to outgrow people who no longer bring peace to your life. You are allowed to protect your joy, even if that means walking away. And you are allowed to be proud of your survival, even if no one claps for you. The people who truly love you will never make you feel like you're too much or not enough. They will listen. They will stay. And even if they don't, you will. Because you are learning to be the person who doesn't abandon yourself. That's the real journey. That's the real healing. So take your pain, your lessons, your scars, and wear them like armor. You didn't just survive this story. You grew from it. And in that growth, you're becoming someone extraordinary. Thank you for letting me share this with you. I hope, in some small way, it made you feel seen. You're not alone. Your heart is still worthy, and your story is far from over.